Well, hello, people. Oops, I guess I need to put my mic on. Been sitting here watching. I started getting the banners ready about 7 o'clock, so just been sitting here playing games on my cell phone. Well, let me see. We've got Aqua Run Girl, we've got Bouger Prepper, we've got Uncle Al, and I don't know if I can't see anybody else from this end, but welcome and thank you so much for showing up again. So this time we're doing the first basically half of chapter 3. And one of the things I really found amazing, I really liked about this portion of the book was it's supposed to be on wilderness survival. But as Toby talks about wilderness survival, Selko puts in a paragraph or two about how that equates to urban survival. Hi, Prepping by Faith. And so you get to see, even though it's called wilderness survival, you get to see both aspects, how it pertains to the wilderness and how it pertains to urban prepping or suburban prepping or whatever you want to call it. But those of us who probably will not be out in the wilderness. I had one striking revelation in this that I thought I understood fairly well, and I guess I don't. And that is, I guess viruses are about 0.02 microns. And so there's very, very few water filters that filter out the viruses. And I was unaware of that until reading this. And so, that was a stark revelation for me. Did anybody else have any other revelations that they thought were really just something else? We don't care what you thought, Addie. You're not on screen, so you can't answer, okay? Okay, be a good girl. Anybody have any striking revelations? I put out a video about 2 hours ago, and I mentioned that there was one that I had to call Helen and say, "Hey, Helen, come look at this. I can't believe this. How come I never learned this?" And I started Cub Scouts and Cub Scout camping back in the 60s. But he talks about taking a stick and don't eat snow. Yes, and the corollary to that, Bouger, is don't eat yellow snow. But one of the things that he talked about was taking a stick and tying it into your taut line for your if you're using a tarp or something over a taut line, because that will keep the water from dripping into and under your tarp on the taut line and then dripping on you. So he installed these two sticks, one at each end of the tarp, so that when the water gets to it, it just gets diverted down and drips outside of the cover of the taut line. Dehydration signs, fantastic. Yeah, I think that's really, really important. There were some pages in there that I tabbed, and I ran out to the store and even bought more tabs, so that I can get all this going. But anyhow, I go through tabs like you would not believe. Tabs, highlighters, and then I try not to use these, but sometimes I have to use these too. This is my Bible highlighting pen. It's made specifically so that it doesn't go through the thin pieces of paper for the Bible. But anyhow, really, oh, okay, I got you. Way to go, Aqua Run Girl. But I thought the two charts that he gave on hypothermia and hyperthermia and the temperatures of each was pretty amazing. So I've got that tabbed on my book. So, and we probably won't talk about those because I thought that was pretty intrinsic here tonight. The Dakota hole, absolutely. That's kind of a version of a rocket stove. And so what you're doing is you're sucking in fresh air and heating up the fire so you get more combustion. And the more combustion you get, the more smoke you have. Remember, smoke is a sign of incomplete combustion. Let me go get the girl. She's going to yell. Hey, Addie, come here. Come here. Why are you being so naughty? You can come sit with me if you'd be quiet. Come on. Okay. Sorry, I'm back. Yeah, the more oxygen. Addie, please. the more oxygen you can get into the fire. And he talks about that later on in the latter portion of this chapter. He talks, oh gosh, let me go get her. Okay. Just sit right here with Daddy, okay? Be quiet. Addie, be quiet. That's Mommy out there watering. Okay, let's try this again. But anyhow, the more, remember the fire triangle he showed us where it has fuel, heat, and air. So the more air you get in there, the more efficient fire you have. Yes, drying your meat, fantastic, absolutely. And I think there's there's a scene in oh gosh, what was it? Was it The Last Samurai? No, it was in Shogun, in the movie Shogun, where the guy has been captured and he's trying to dry his chickens, hanging his chickens up and drying, and that was contra to the Japanese cuisine. So, yeah, I would like to learn how to dry those as well. Hi, East Tennessee Preparedness. Welcome. So, and then Pepper Camper, welcome to you too. Thank you for showing up. So, okay, let's go into this and let's see what we can do. Let me get out of the chat and into the banners. And the first one's going to be, how much water did he recommend that we have if you exercise in a hot climate? And that's on page 131. Helen took my cell phone with her when she went outside to water the plants in front so we wouldn't be disturbed by my cell phone. Little did we expect that the dog would be barking at her while she's outside. Okay, 4 to 5 liters, 5 to 6 liters. So yeah, he does say 5 to 6 liters. So about 1.5 gallons if you're working strenuously, burning calories out in the temperatures. You're going to need about 1.5 gallons of water to rehydrate you. Aging a pheasant, that's okay. And then, so what are some of the signs of dehydration? Aqua Run Girl already talked about this a little bit, but what are some of those signs, symptoms of dehydration? And that's on pages 132 and 133. Addie, quiet. I've got her sister, same litter. Both of these are rescue dogs. So this is Annie. Annie doesn't bark like Addie does. Annie just sits here by my side. And then the long-haired Chihuahua, she's 13 years old, so she just likes to go lie down and go to sleep. Thirst, headache, heat cramps, dry eyes, dry mouth. Fantastic. Yeah. What else? Dark urine. Yes, and that's a secret that we know in the Army. We were taught in the Army in basic training. Is you want your urine to be as colorless as possible. When you have colorless urine, you're well hydrated. When you have it when it's very dark, it goes from clear to dark, almost a brownish color. And so the closer it is to brown from golden, the more dehydrated you are. So that's one good way of seeing it. Fantastic. Reduced endurance, pain during urination. Fantastic, Bouger. Okay, Apartment Prepper joined us too. Fantastic. Welcome, Apartment Prepper. And let me get here. Banners. So we talked earlier about one of the key things we learned was don't eat snow, don't eat yellow snow. So he says that if you warm it up and, hi, Roaming Prepper. and you thaw or melt snow to get water. How much water do you get out of the snow? So he gives the example of taking a bucket and collecting it and packing it full of snow. And then when he melts it, he probably only has exactly 1/10 of that bucket. So volume wise, when you melt snow and make it into water, you're going to get about 10% of what you originally had. Oh, I know why you took my phone now. So that the ring alarm wouldn't go off while I was on here. Yeah. Addie barked the whole time you were gone. So
sorry.
That's okay. Maybe she'll calm down now that you're in here with
us. Should I let her in?
Oh, she's right there.
She's here. Calm down.
Okay. 1/10. So you get 1/10 of water from that snow. And this is going to take a little bit longer to answer. What are the 4 categories of pollutants and problems with water? And then give us an example of each of those. Well, the 13-year-old black long hair just ran into the bedroom because Helen went into the bedroom, not so she wouldn't disturb us. Okay, so he talks about 4 major categories of pollutants. Pesticides, yep, but that falls within a generic category. He gave us 4 specific categories. Bacteria, like salmonella or botulism, absolutely. Then he's got parasites, yep. Algae is not a major cause, but it falls inside of one of the other ones. And then you've got where is it here? Let me see. Bacteria, parasites, protozoa, and viruses. So I just found out that most of my water treatment on that video that I did by reading this book don't take out the bacteria, and so I may have to do something else for for the viruses to get rid of them. And we'll talk about that's a question I'm going to ask later on. Is what does he say is the best way to get rid of or to make good water? So hepatitis A, polio, and SARS for viruses, absolutely. And I don't know if y'all saw it or not, but I forget which public water system there was. They just found polio, some polio in the water. And so they may have to go back to everybody being vaccinated. That was one of those diseases we thought we had eradicated. Okay, then he says he gave us a specific way that he likes to clean his water. And so there's a lot of agreement between him and me here. But what does he say is the best way to filter the water or to purify water? Yeah, roaming prepper. After a lot of disasters, you get, and the most common disease that's caused by fecal matter being in the drinking water is cryptosporidiosis. There's also, I think it's typhus and cholera are also spread because of fecal matter or urine in the water system, and it festers and breeds and causes things. So yeah, that is something. But the good news is most of the good water filters that are out there. And when my daughter was the first case of confirmed cryptosporidiosis in I think it was 1997. We had lightning struck our septic, our sewage pumping station. And what happened was all our sewage collected into a tank, and then it was pumped uphill, and then it flowed down into the city of Austin's water reclamation system. And so when it hit that pump, all the sewage from all of our neighborhood was going into the tank, but it wasn't being pumped up and not getting out, so it overflowed. And it overflowed into Brushy Creek. And it just so happens that 150 yards upstream from where the sewage thing was, that's where our wellhead was. So we were getting water out of Brushy Creek, but it was 150 yards upstream. They didn't realize there was a karst that took the water down through a fissure in the earth directly to our waterhead. So we got cryptosporidiosis, and that cryptosporidiosis is the number one thing I look for when I'm buying a water filter, is will it get rid of that? So okay, and welcome, Ms. Anderson. Great. So she heard that the polio found in the Europeans, let me see if I can get that one up there, was actually a vaccine-derived strain, likely shed by somebody recently evacuated and not a wild strain. Well, that's good to know. Thank you. So he says safe to drink doesn't mean safe for wound treatment. That's pretty much true. You want to boil the water, sterile water for wound treatment. Now he mentions it in here, and yeah, he does mention chemical treatment, and that's something that's going to be very important, is getting chlorine or potassium hypochlorite to disinfect your water. And so being safe to drink doesn't mean safe for wound treatment, because you want to get it as clean as possible, no bacteria, nothing in there, so that you can wash that wound. That's why if those of you who have watched me for a while, when I used to do my pepper haul videos, you'd notice that every time I did a pepper haul at Walmart, I would stop by the first aid area and pick up a can of sterile saline wound wash. And that's very important to me. Absolutely. Let me get here. And then I would like to share this one with everybody. That's where distilling would be good. Absolutely correct. So here's something that I think most of you are going to enjoy. That's a historical perspective. Is up until the time we Madame Curie and a couple others found out about pasteurization and distillation and what it does to the treatment, we ignorantly got better water through one of two ways. We either got it through distillation, which is boiling and then recondensing, or we got it through fermentation. So the vast majority of people, the way they survived was either through an alcoholic drink, wine, beer, or spirits, or by water that had been distilled. And so then you think coffee, tea becoming major potable items, you have to boil the water in order to extract the juices out of the tea leaves or the coffee grounds. So that was another form of boiling. And so that's how people stayed safe back then, was either through distillation or fermentation. Take care, East Tennessee Preparedness. Let me see here. Yes, beer is a form of fermentation, and that was a way to ensure yourself you weren't going to catch cholera, typhus, cryptosporidiosis, or any of the others. So Selko says that the best way, let me get back here. How does Selko say his favorite way or best way to purify water was? And that's on page 149. So if you see the video that I did on water and water purification, I always talk about having a kerchief with me, and I want to take that kerchief and put it over the mouth of my collection agent bottle, whatever, and then sometimes zip tie it or rubber band it on. So I'm doing a first case straining, trying to get out large objects, mud, dirt, rock, gravel, etc., and keep fish and fish eggs and things like that out of the water I'm collecting. So, oh, that's interesting. I'll have to watch that. And that, that very well could be the reason why most of the monasteries specialize in some sort of beer, ale, or spirit drink, and that's kind of weird. Yes, a funnel and a water. Okay, so I think there we go. Depends on the quality of the water. You want to filter it out as much as possible. So then, Uncle Al says he uses a funnel and a coffee filter, which is an outstanding way to do it. But I think Prepping by Faith said it best. He filters it several times, and it's incremental filtering. So he's going to get rid of the big stuff, then the next bigger stuff, then finally the smaller stuff, and then he's got it down to where he's got a fairly pure, drinkable, fairly potable water, and he's going to boil it. And take care, Pepper Camper. And so that's the way he takes care of it. So I think that's a good idea. Or if you don't boil it, you could also chemically treat it to get rid of the virus that remain after all the filtration. I just watched a video on a guy who took a wine bottle cork and put it into the bottom of a ceramic gardening pot, and then set that inside of a bigger pot. And he uses the ceramic pot the same way as a ceramic filter. And so that's filtering his water, and he gets pretty good results out of that. Comparable, he says, to a Berkey. I'd like to see the proof on that. I think we all have. I can't tell you some of the stuff when I was out in the field, what did I drink? Very questionable water. But, when I was a kid, I drank out of the green water hose in the yard, and when I was hot and playing around, and I'm still here. So I guess there are some things that are okay. Okay, let me see where we are here. Now, he also gave a formula. He says that in the case you don't have medical facilities around and there is extreme dehydration and you need to get somebody rehydrated, he gave first the caution of get water in them, but not too much at one time. Give them a sip every couple minutes and to help rehydrate them. But if they're beyond the point where they can sip and it's a dehydration issue, he said you can give them a water enema because the water is absorbed very quickly that way. And he gave us a formula for how to mix the water to use in that enema. And that's on page 156. I did not know this, by the way. I have never heard of it before. So that was new news to me. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Gosh, were we coddled or what? Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why, hey, Texas Redleg, so glad to see you. One of the things that I'm very cautious of, you have all these water collection systems on the roofs, and then they go into a collection and then they go into a barrel. I would want to make sure I have really good filters on that, because when I look at the amount of white stuff that's on my roof that was been deposited by visiting birds, I'm not so sure I would want that washed off my roof into a collection bottle or collection thing. Prepping by Faith has the formula for us. Fantastic. So 33 ounces of water, which is basically 2 quarts, half a gallon, and 32 ounces is a half a gallon. A quarter teaspoon of salt and 6 teaspoons of sugar. All right. Valerie, welcome. Welcome. Hey, Texas Redleg. And let me see. Okay, next question. That's where we are there, and I need to go down to the next one. Okay, he has a different water recommendation for hunker down type people than what we've seen in most instances. I've always been taught that you absolutely need 1 gallon. I'm sorry, a half a gallon per person per day just to remain hydrated. So you need 2 quarts. If you're sedentary, not overheated, not overexhausted or anything else, you need 64 ounces of water, no, 32 ounces of water just to stay hydrated. And then for hygiene and cooking and everything else, take that up to a gallon. So I've always been told a gallon per person per day. Selco doesn't necessarily agree with that. He gives us a different recommendation. Oops, what did I do here? There we go. No, you're not going outside. And this is on page 157. 14 gallons for one person for 1 week. So basically 2 gallons per person per day. So he's doubling up on what we recommend, or what the prepping community here in the States has been recommending. And he may be right. That may be a better plan, especially for me with all the freeze-dried and dehydrated stuff that I have. It may take more to do that. Of course, one of the things I probably drink a gallon's worth of coffee. So I've been hooked on these recently. I go through one of these every day. This is a 1-quart bottle of flavored water. No carbs, no sugars, just basically water with a flavoring. Okay. Yeah, so 14 gallons per person per week. So he talks about sometimes the cost of getting water exceeds the reward in getting it. So what is your opinion about that? And give me an example. So the example he gives is you're going to exert so much energy digging a hole that you think there's water down at the bottom. And then when you get down to the water at the bottom, you've only got a quart of water that you're going to be able to use, but you've expended 2 quarts worth trying to get it. So. Okay. Yep. So you're in agreement with Selco on that one. I agree. I think the more water you can get, the better off you're going to be. Come on. Come on. You're not going outside. Yeah. And so I think his whole theory there is, do an evaluation when you're looking for water on how much are you going to expend to get it versus how much are you going to receive as far as benefits. Texas Redleg, who's in the conversation here, a short while back found a fantastic bladder for, I think it was 20 gallons or 30 gallons of water that would fit into a wheelbarrow. And I thought, man, that's a great idea. Thank you, Texas Redleg. And so we got one at his recommendation. I think it was a great idea. But then I started thinking, you know what? I'm going to fill up, let's call it 20 gallons. So 20 gallons, I'm going to fill up 20 gallons of water into that bladder. And then I've got to lift it and then push that. And unfortunately, we're about 100 feet above the river. So, it's in a valley. So I'm going to have to lift that and that wheelbarrow up 100 feet in elevation and about a quarter mile in distance. And so, am I going to be exerting more energy than what I will be acquiring as far as water? And so that may be a fantastic idea for me to use on level ground, but going down to the river, I'm not so sure I'm going to use that idea. Yes, a do-it-yourself well kit would be fantastic. I have found some other alternative sources around here, a lot closer, but they are seasonal, so that's going to be an issue. Yeah, I think that becomes a choice, and I think the choice that I'm left with is, do I want to go down, be close to the water, and not have to haul it up here to the house, or do I want to stay in the house where I have all my other stuff, to include a fantastic solar system and battery backup and all that kinds of stuff that may make it comfortable, and so, that's another one of those cost benefit analyses that everybody has to do is, are you willing to move? As a matter of fact, we drove Sunday. I think it was Sunday. We took a drive to a different town, and then we just out to get out of the house and drive around. And driving back, I said, Helen, that's the piece of land I want. There's this triangle in there that it's in the fork of a river where two rivers converge, and oh, it's just perfect. I mean, that's defensible and everything else. If I could put a house in there and put some uh, solar system in there to collect the energy and everything, boy, that would be perfect. But it's not going to happen. Yeah, I think it's even more than 90%, if I remember right. But yeah, there's a high percentage of water that is not drinkable. Now, when I was in between my senior year in high school and my freshman year in college, I got a job with the U.S. Geodetic Society, and we surveyed the south bank of the Gila River, and that's in the Gila National Wilderness area. And so I thought we were fairly safe just taking the water directly from the Gila River, because there was nothing upstream as far as human pollutants. But I forgot about bears and sheep and all those other things that they don't necessarily understand, that it's not good to extricate their input while they're taking in water. So that could be very harmful if you were uh, in the wrong way. I've heard always go walk 100 yards upstream and check out the location before you collect what you're collecting where you are. Great tip, Pam. Great tip. Yes, if you don't have a lid for your bucket, uh, then get yourself a contractor trash bag. It'd work perfect. And then you can rubber band that. And so what you would do is you take the top and you twist it. And then once you've got it twisted, you're going to fold it down over itself. So you have kind of a loop up here. And that's what you want to tie. And that's the best way to keep that from splashing out. Ooh, yep, I agree. Okay, let me see here. What is his primary concern as far as finding shelter? And that's going to directly link to another question we're going to ask here in just a second. Keeping body temperature regulated, absolutely. And one of the keys to keeping your body temperature regulated is to stay dry. And let me see if I can get this down here. Come on. Isn't it going for me? Huh. There we go. So so when he talks about regulating body temperature, part of that is staying dry. And so yes, both of them. So regulating body temperature as far as looking for shade and coolness to avoid hyperthermia, and then looking for a cover to keep you dry and out of the wind to avoid hypothermia. And so both of those are regulating causes. And so he says that your chances of getting hypothermia, that being wet increases your chances of getting hypothermia than being dry at that water temperature by a factor of about 32. So you're 32 times greater of developing hypothermia if you're wet and cold than if you're just straight cold. Let me see here. Okay, and what is that parallel there, Aqua Run Girl? What can you share with us on that? Absolutely, absolutely. He said, I think he said it's 32 times. No, maybe no, it's just that it's 32 times more susceptible to hypothermia, but it is denser, and so it absorbs more heat, and that's why your body sweats. Is the evaporation of that causes you to cool down. So yeah, okay. How can you use your hand to estimate the amount of daylight left or the amount of sunshine? We probably one of the when I was in Germany, of course, we ran 3 miles every morning in combat boots, snow, ice, anything. And I promised myself I'd never run another step that from the day I retired on. And I've been able to keep that promise now for over 30 years. So the way he recommends that you let me use this as the sun. Okay, so we've got the sun here. We've got the horizon at the bottom of the screen. So if you place your pinky parallel to the earth, parallel to the horizon, and then you take your sun and measure the distance. So each finger, so if it's only 3 fingers, it's 45 minutes. If it's only 2 fingers, it's 30 minutes. If it's only 1 finger, it's 15 minutes. But each finger is 15 minutes of daylight remaining. Yeah, I had a battalion commander who was a marathoner. And so he thought it was cool that we'd run 3 miles every day except Wednesday. And Wednesday we ran 7 miles. But because I was the staff S3, the operations officer for the battalion, I had to run both the morning shift and the afternoon shift. So 14-mile Wednesdays was not something that made me very happy. In combat boots. Pam's got it right. Yay. Okay, then the final programmed question I have, and I'm just going to open it up for your all comments and discussion. But the last question that I have is this one here. Uh-oh, we're getting power fluctuations. Which one, Pam or Valerie? The finger method? I wanted to look it up, but when I was in Boy Scouts, and this is in the mid to late 60s. I was invested in 45 angle is absolutely correct. And along with that, perpendicular to the wind. Yes, wind to your back for a lean-to, and perpendicular to the wind if it's a A-frame. So, I was saying when I was back in the 60s, I was inducted into yeah, that is impressive, isn't it? I was inducted into the Order of the Arrow, which is you're selected by your fellow scouts. This is the only honor that your fellow scouts bestow upon you that you don't earn, that they give to you. And so we had my first Order of the Arrow camp out was on the west side of the mountain in El Paso, and there was a real nice A-frame type building, and it had this U-shaped benches all the way around the area that was covered. I'm sorry, the area that had side coverings, and those you could sleep on. Then the front had concrete out with two picnic tables and a fireplace with a chimney at the very end. So you had this building this long, right? And this half was covered and had walls, and then this half did not have walls. So it rained like the bejesus that night. And but unfortunately, the one stall that we chose to sleep in, the opening was to the direction of the wind. The only place that did not get rain was the last 3 feet of the entire side of the shelter. And this must have been a 30-foot long shelter. But wind and rain can get you really, really wet. So that's basically all the major questions that I had concerning the book. Let's just open it up to some of your thoughts and some of the things that you learned that you were really impressed with, and maybe some exchanges and some experiences that you've had that correlate to some of the learning in this chapter. So I'm going to open it up to all y'all. And if one of you wants to join the link and kind of share some of your examples live with your face on the camera, let me know, and I'll be happy to invite you in here with me. Prepping by Faith, can you do me a favor? Can you get the link to your live Friday night and show that to everybody for me, please? You need practice doing what, Aqua Run Girl? So while we're waiting to see if anybody has anything else to say, I just want to share a couple things. So next week we will be doing, where's my calendar? So next week we're going to focus on finishing chapter 3, and that's going to be pages 189 to 237, a little bit shorter than it was this week, but still a lot of technical details. On Thursday, don't forget, we have our fiction book club meeting, and that's going to be at 8 o'clock. I've invited the author. He said he's going to try to change his schedule around, see if he can't join us. But we might have Stephen Smith here with us Thursday night to discuss this book, The Reversion. Let me tell you, this book is one that caused me to buy a small notebook so I could keep track of all the fantastic stuff he talks about in it. Oh, yeah. You know what? And Bouger Prepper put a video, and I'm going to recommend that you also see it. Okay, so first let me get to this one. Click on this link here and save it from Prepping by Faith, because we're going to do a live stream Friday evening, sponsored by Prepping by Faith on her channel. And she's going to be interviewing Van City Prepper and me about natural disasters. And so things we can do concerning hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, snowmageddons, and all that kinds of stuff. So click on that link, save it. Make sure you tell them you want to be, grab the wrong one. Okay. So make sure, I want you to come watch us and see if you can learn anything and add something to the value of the discussion as well. Oh, Pam, okay, that's fine. There's a link down below if you want to get it for the next discussion next week. But for this Thursday, we're going to be doing the reversion, which is book 1 of the Stonemont series by Stephen C. Smith. He may join us for that. And I sent him a reminder email today, so hopefully he will be there. And then Friday, we have the live stream hosted by Prepping by Faith, and there's the correct link for that. So, see if you can't get reminded about that, link on it and reminded about that Friday night. Then Saturday at 8 p.m., we're going to do the Growing Your Channel. So this is something, and it may grow to twice a month, it may grow to once a week, I don't know. But Saturday at 8 p.m. Central, for those of you who are content creators, for example, Prepping by Faith and Bouger Prepper and Pam, I don't know if you have one or not. So if you're a content creator, come to Saturday at 8 p.m. And the deal there is I have the best moderators on the face of the earth. And what they're going to do is, as we're discussing, as we're talking, they're going to take every person who shows up on the channel, their channel link, and put it out so that everybody can subscribe to it. So the whole purpose of Saturday night is I will subscribe to your channel if you'll subscribe to mine. And if we can get 100 people on there, that's 100 new followers for you, hopefully. So, then we can grow some of these channels up to the point where they can be monetized. The other thing is, if you're going to be there Saturday and you're very close to meeting a goal, let's say you're 15 short of 1,000, let us know so we can concentrate on getting you that 1,000. And that's what we would like to do. Oh, yeah. So you do have the book, the reversion. So, and then we're going to do the revival for the next for the month of July. I tell you I've got Helen reading the reversion right now. Uh-oh. Okay. Let me do this one. No, that's not it. This one. Is it this one? Prepping by Faith? Is that the right one? Okay, there we go. So make sure you click on that one, get a reminder that you will be there Friday night at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. And we're going to have the three of us, Prepping by Faith, me, and Van City Prepper. And I don't know if you saw the video she just recently did or the live she did where she had, I forget the doctor's name, but he is the one who has found the meteor hitting the earth that caused the extinction of the dinosaurs. And that was super interesting. And but if you can go to Van City Prepper, take a look at that. That's a very, very interesting one. He says there's 2 unproven theories, and he likes one of them, and I like this one too. He thinks that the meteor, when it hit the earth, put a dust cloud around the earth, and so that caused kind of like a greenhouse effect, and it killed the plants on the earth. And so without the plants, then all of the vegivores, the vegetarian type dinosaurs, didn't have anything to eat, and they started dying off because of starvation. And so because they didn't have, is that the link for that one discussion, Prepping by Faith? And then if the meat eaters didn't have any live vegetarian dinosaurs, then they would die of starvation too. So he thinks it was a gradual slope of different animals not having the appropriate amount of food to keep them alive, and that's what caused the extinction of the dinosaurs. Okay, so I believe this is the link if you want to go back and look at Van City Prepper's link on that. Oh, that's just for her channel. Okay, so you can go to Van City Prepper and then look for that one. Bouger Prepper put out a video a short while ago, and I've already put it in my, I've got these safe, the storage tubs. I've got 3 tubs full of fire starting stuff out in the garage, And Bouger Prepper put out a video just a little while ago that she found on Amazon of a waxed hemp rope inside of a steel tube. And so what you do is you push the rope through the tube and then crush the ends, and it becomes a very good tinder for you for fire starting. And it's paraffin immersed so that it's highly flammable. So, okay, any other discussion? So watch that one by Bouger Prepper. I strongly recommend it. Watch Van City Prepper's discussion with the doctor about the meteorites and meteors. And he gave one. He gave one where a woman was in her house and a meteorite came through the house and crashed in the bed next to her. It was crazy. But he's talking about how we can track these things and everything else. So, okay, Van City Chat with Dr. Hillenbrandt. So this is the link here. So go watch that one. It's only a half hour live. So if nobody has anything else, I'm going to give you a minute or two here, see if anybody wants to discuss anything else. And if not, we can probably end this one about 10 minutes early and let everybody get some rest. But I'm willing to entertain answering or discussing anything, especially concerning the book at this point. Okay, no chatty Cathys. Thank you, Uncle Al. Thank you, Pam. Appreciate that. And okay, then I will see you all next Tuesday for this, and then Thursday night for the reversion. Friday night, live interview by Prepping by Faith, and that'll be me and Van City Prepper. And then on Saturday, we'll be growing people's channels. So an awful lot of lives this week. Listen, everybody, take care. We've got 3 solid days of lower than 100-degree temperature here in the Austin area. We are so happy about that possibility of rain again tonight. So everybody, take care. And I've got to read my favorite to close down. And this is Exodus. I'm sorry. Numbers 6:24 on. Let me make sure I can read this now. You're going to find out a secret in my life. As you get older, things happen. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and give you peace. So with that, I wish you all peace. Stay away from the crowd. Stay away from the crazies with the Roe v. Wade stuff that's going on. Just
Both sides are crazy.
stay. Helen just interjected. Both sides are crazy, and that there is some truth to that. So with that, y'all have a fantastic evening. Take care. Bye-bye.